Springbok head coach Rassie Erasmus, please raise your hands for questions.
Rassie, over the years, South Africa's record in Australia is not the greatest, and you guys have also struggled. Australians tend to find ways of winning against the Springboks, sometimes by our own doing, sometimes by luck. Just, is the approach any different this time around?
Yes, we certainly are well aware of that. Every year there's an excuse. Maybe the first time playing at a venue like Melbourne or whatever, and we're a team that shouldn't have excuses. I think what is a bit different than the past is where we normally in Super Rugby play week in, week out against them. It almost feels like the Rugby Championships and the end of year tour swapped around, where we used to play against Welsh teams and Irish teams, and I think it's becoming a little bit more difficult because players are new to us. Joe Smith is certainly not new to us. We know they'll be well organized. We've already studied them. We've tried a little bit of a new approach. We're flying tomorrow. We trained yesterday and today and this afternoon still. And then we'll arrive there on Thursday, flying tomorrow, Thursday, and probably have a Friday, Saturday session. And then trying to get into a normal week where last time when we flew out, we flew on a Sunday and we had to fly over and the flight was cancelled. Not as an excuse, but we're trying to negate those things that we just have a normal test week when we get to Australia. But no, they are a proper team with a new coach and they'll have lots of energy.
Just speaking of Joe Schmidt, just what do you expect from next week? And obviously a lot of players you guys haven't played against in that squad.
Yeah, that's the thing. When you played against Ireland, I would probably say after 4 test matches, I just had a chat to Liam there, after 4 test matches that we played, probably that first 30 minutes in the second test match against Ireland was disappointing because we know the players, we know what they did, we know it was their last game and then they have a 4 or 5 week break before they play again, where it's definitely new under Joe. Joe is I worked under him when I was at Munster. He's a very hard worker. Got Mike Cron as his scrum coach. We were just in a World Rugby meeting where all the coaches was in terms of some of the new rules and tweaks that they want to make. And yeah, he's definitely a coach that brings the best out of players, and there's lots of new names which we haven't played against in the last couple of months and years. So a big test for us, but I think we've done our homework and it's going to be tightly contested.
What are your travel plans? Are you flying direct to Sydney or are you going to the Northern Hemisphere to go south?
I'll give you that now. I really don't know so much of that. How do you mean? I think we're flying directly there. Yeah.
Rassie, Ruan Nokia, in addition to your squad, do you feel in the future that he could be a kind of like-for-like replacement for Frank Boston?
I think it's very much a like-for-like replacement. He was definitely unlucky not to. He was in our alignment camps and we just, that's why I have the laptop here. We've got quite a few guys out, One forget about John Klein, who's 29, and one forget about Lode Jager, who's probably got another 2 years in him. Now with Franco also out. But you're having Pieter Steff de Tooy, who can call 5 for you, play 5 lock for you, where he started out his career and people were all of us, wasn't sure if he'll make the transition to 7 flank, and he's become one of the best in the world now. And then Franco is obviously a guy that can play 7 and 5, and Ruan, it just was unlucky that the other guys was in form and really playing well. But now, because of injury, he gets his opportunity, and I must say Dion Davids is smiling because his ability with Grobbies in the team and Jan Hendrik Wessels and Elrich, certainly there's some combinations there. If we have to go a certain route with team selection, there will be connections and not totally new guys who will be playing together if that happens.
Talking of players in particular, able to get us up to speed with who is in better shape to play and who is still injured within the squad?
In the 33-man squad. Okay, in the 33-man squad, it's Malcolm Mark. You see, Stephen Kitchoff is ready to play. And that's why probably the selection of Jan Hendrik Wessels hopefully makes a little bit more sense to to you guys to explain it that way, is that, you know, Kitsi has to play some rugby now. He's ready to play, but, you know, he needs some game time. And Malcolm is, I would say, a 90% to play next week. So we don't want to take an unfit Kitsi and a Malcolm who's dodgy. That's why Jan Hendrik Wessels, who can cover loose head and prop for you, makes certainly more sense. Pieter Steff will be ready next week to play. And that again makes your team selection interesting, because you might not have to put another lock on the bench, or you might, if you go 6-2, put another lock on the bench, or 2 loose forwards on the bench, because Pieter Steff covers 5 for you. But that must be a fit Pieter Steff. It was a little bit of a knee bruise, which is over now, but he's also got a little bit of flu, so he couldn't train fully with us the last 2 days. And apart from that, no, there's not really one guy carrying injuries within the 33. And then guys who's probably coming back, is Kitsi, is Faf, has a groin injury which wouldn't take too long, but we left him here. Jaden is coming back. Then also Kanan Moody will be ready to play next week, and Damian Willems, I guess, another 3 weeks. Yeah.
Coach, the more you get to work with Sasha, get to know him better and all that kind of thing, what have you made of him, and you know, how far do you think this kid can go in terms of exploiting his natural talent?
Yeah, interesting. No, he's been thrown. I think that's where sometimes one underestimate those SA8 tours and one just look at the results. And for a team just to get together on those SA8 tours, although they lost against Munster and Bristol, but getting those guys on a certain pressure with new coaches, and Zondile Stick taking head coach there while we were playing in other venues and we were splitting the squads, you get to know the players. He trained with us, with the Springboks there, in full-on contact sessions, and you can see the character of the guy. And obviously we know him through our systems and our junior programs, and his captaincy material. And then you put him in at fullback, and as I think when Willie got injured, he came on, was I right? And he, we only lost the game by a drop goal, and definitely not because of the way he played. So it would be lovely, like we're always trying to do, not to say that tier 1 teams, we don't respect them, but it's always nice to put a player in through a lot of experienced players, or a tier 2 team or tier 1 team with some experience around him. And I think we all were pleasantly surprised when we were down to 14 men, with Lucanio playing 12 and him playing 10 in the second half. Not that Mani didn't play well. I think Mani also had glimpses of brilliance when we were down to 14 men from the second minute. But Sasha then next to Lucanio at 12 was also very interesting. And again, we almost recognize that it's Portugal, tier 2 team, and we played away from home. But his natural talent, I think none of us sit here can argue about that. It's just how he takes the next steps, and how we manage him and help him to take the next steps. I think he's got a bright future.
Coach, one of the debates was your selection surrounds the 8th man position, and the dropping of the rest. And is there going to be a type of almost subterfuge with the number 8? Because Pieter Steff has also been mentioned as a possible number 8. How do you see the number 8 position at the moment?
No, I think we've got 2 full loose forward trios, 6 to be like that. You know, we've got Marco and Sia who can play 6. We've got Pieter Steff and Ben Jason who can play 7. And we've got Kwacha and Elrich who can play 8, and Elrich who can also play 7. No, I don't think Pieter Steff will be utilised at 8. And certainly, what's his name, Ivan is not out of the mix. Prior to the Portugal test match, we told the guys, you guys get a chance here and go and express yourself and show us, put up your hand, show there's a few new dogs in the neighborhood, and start lifting your leg and make a mark there. And certainly a few guys did. But Elrich, we also want to experience him against big nations. Of course, he was part of our plans always, but he certainly did take a dip in form, he will admit it himself. And we know what Evan now can do. And Evan is not thrown away. You know, we still have 9 test matches this year. So, like we did against Argentina away last year, was it last year? Yeah, we picked a lot of guys. Or was it the previous year? A totally different team like we did against Portugal. So it's building squad depth. We know what Evan can do, and he certainly didn't have bad games. And we know he's comfortable within the Springbok setup. We now can see if Elrich gets a chance, what he can do.
Just on that Elrich, Evan Bruce topic, I see there's always been this chat of Evan Bruce is not the typical Springbok number 8 in the way that he plays, similarly to how the Stormers play in more loose the number 8, so not the fringes. Is there any truth to that? Do you ask him to play a particular way when he's with the Springboks? Is he fulfilling what the coaching staff would like him to do as a Springbok number 8?
No, I don't think so. I think on defense, the roles is pretty much the same as it is with the Stormers. I think most of the South African teams have more or less the same defensive mindset and systems. There might be small tweaks here and there, but we are pretty familiar with the way the Stormers defend with Norman Laker there. So on defense, no. Then on attack, you know, we've got a different attack coach. So if it was something like that in the past when Felix was the attack coach, it was certainly not something. And now we've got Tony Brown as the attack coach. And no, it's just purely, I don't know how many caps does he have now, 6, 7, I'm not sure. And Elrich has a bit less. And we're trying to get caps under the belt. We know what he can do, and we have no problem what he did for us. But it's time to give Elrich also a chance against top-tier nations and see what he did, because he certainly, the Bulls went the deepest in the competition, and he was certainly one of the more physical players in that setup. But no, there's no prescriptions more than what we will have for Elrich or for Pieter Steff or for Kwagga or for anybody else. So no, I don't think we're definitely not punching his type of play in. I would rather say we encourage him more to play the way Evan wants to play, and he certainly did. Made a few errors like anybody else who hasn't got more than 10 test caps under his belt. He will make some errors.
And going into this rugby championship, all 3 teams have new coaches, more continuity on your side, where have been a part of the Springbok setup since 2018. Also coming into it as the defending World Cup champions, do you feel as if that gives you a bit of an edge at the famous time going into this one?
Yeah, it's interesting sometimes, you know, it's a very good statement or question. Sometimes people will say, does that add pressure? And then other times people will say, does it give you a little bit more of an edge? And I think the reality is, you know, we're playing Australia, we're getting on the flight, we're playing them away from home. The previous year, we struggled in the first test match. So we have to adapt something what we did wrong as a coaching staff and as a management team. So I don't particularly think there's edges through world champions, because it's a new year and we're building a squad towards this year and not looking too far, because then you forget the present, and not looking just at the present and you forget the future. So no, we would love to try and go and win both games there, and I'm sure Joe, knowing Joe really well, he'll be well prepared, and he knows the way I coach, because at Munster, and I know pretty much a lot about him like he know about me. So no, I don't think anybody has an edge on somebody.
But maybe on that though, Coach, I mean, you touched on this just slightly, that sometimes you feel like as the world champions, maybe there is pressure on you to win this time. And considering when you last won it, when you guys took over, when you took over obviously 2019, or that you have won since then, do you feel that perhaps maybe they are looking at you then to be, this is the time South Africa should win it?
No, yes, after 2019, that's why I'm saying I think that kind of pressure we've experienced now in many a way. You know, after 2019, I know I'm repeating myself, sorry about that. It was immediately the British and Irish Lions because 2020 wasn't there. So then the expectations was there for the British and Irish Lions, and then the next year we had that 2022 to build on. So no, I think that pressure, we can't use that as an excuse because we've been through that, you know, and the same now with Ireland. I know we're disappointed that we did not win the series, but you know, they also did not win the series against us. It's at the end of the day, I know Andy Farrell would have loved it 2-0 for them. I know he's not happy with a 1-1, and we're not happy with a 1-1. You know, so we always want to win and make South Africa proud. And yes, we expect people to expect us to win, and we expect ourselves to win and try, but it won't be easy.
Speaking about the fourth place in particular, he has been a critical part of the Boxers' attacking element. However, though, he suffered 2 concussions this season. How concerning is that?
I know the concussion protocols are very much, you know, all of us do all of the different certificates and the doctors are on top of the things, and the guys now play with mouth guards that tell them that it ping and all of those kind of things. Even in the Andre Esterhuizen case, it was very interesting that because the guy wore a mouth guard, when did the concussion take place? Actually, with the actual contact to the chest, and then you know, later contact with the head, or was it actually the contact to the head to the ground? So the same with Willie. You know, there's they would know. Did he go through a proper protocol when he had his first concussion? If he went through all the protocol and there was no effects or side effects, you know, the doctors will never bring them back too early. And yes, so we will never risk a guy. You know, I think if you go back and look at the World Cup final in 2019, I mean, I was the guy who called Bongi's concussion after 12 minutes in the game because you don't want your player to get injured, and it was tough to pull Bongi off after 12 minutes, and nobody else saw the concussion but the coaching staff, and we pulled him off, which wasn't a nice thing to do, but he still plays rugby today and he's still available for us, so we will never take a guy like Willie's health at risk for our benefit.
And do you foresee that Edwell might be ready to play at Ellis Park against the All Blacks?
Yeah, sorry, I did not mention Edwell. Edwell, and there's a few other fringe guys that had opportunities which I didn't mention now. So I think it was a long-term injury. I don't think he'll be ready for that test match yet. But again, you know, Kainan is ready. He'll start playing. So if we go well, one can play a little bit around, but then again, it's New Zealand, you know, it's 2 New Zealand test matches here. So I think if we start seeing that we are probably working with, like we did in 2018, with a 45-man squad, and where we can, we'll start introducing guys like we did with Edwell when he had his chance and a few guys against Portugal. And if he's ready, which I doubt he will be then, and things goes according to plan in these 2 Australian test matches, and we've got momentum and the crowd is happy and the fans understands where we're going, then it's a good time to make changes. But sometimes if the momentum is not with you, your plans change.
Coach, have the guys been settling in a bit better now into Tony's sort of new attacking structure? You know, you guys were still testing things out in those 2, well, the main group was still testing things out in those 2 tests against Ireland. Obviously, Portugal, the guys had a bit of a ball, but you know, in that second Irish test, you guys couldn't get over the try line. So is that something that the guys have been getting into better, and do you think they'll be a bit sharper now against Australia?
Yeah, no, I take what you say, and again, I must reiterate, I think our first 30 minutes in the second test match was definitely just from pitching up, not mindset-wise, just being sharp, and not physically we were there, but we were just not as sharp as we would have wanted to be, and we've looked at what we did in that specific week, because you know, they are the number 2 team in the world, and they beat us with a drop goal right at the end, so, and to level the series. So I think they scored 1 try in that game, and we just had penalties. Or they scored 2 tries. I'm not sure. I think both defences was really well organised in that Test match, and they know us pretty well. You know, we played them in the World Cup. So overall, I think it's difficult to judge that second Ireland Test match, especially when I think we had a 6-2 split, and then Willie going down with concussion in the first few minutes, which would have played a big part in that specific game attacking-wise. But then again, we must foresee things like that happening and have the answers, which we didn't have. So no, we're not totally happy with the way we overall attacked, especially in that Irish Test match.
Afrikaans guys, and if there is time afterwards, then we can go back to that last discussion.
Rassie, in terme van Jan-Hendrik Wessel sy destyds vir die Wille opgekom as 'n stip in die Wille om maker gemaak. Lyk of julle hom nou weer op stip kies. Dink jy kan nog veel langer die nadelig is op sy loopbaan? Of is dit juist een van sy sterkpunte hulle is?
Weet jy, hy en Andre Hugo, ek dink hulle is ek het al baie gesê, hulle het saam gespeel, maar ek het hom al sien 5 slot speel vir Greyhawk. Ja, hy's amper soos 'n Ollie Leroux en 'n restaurant tipe en los, hy's regtig bedrywig. En ek dink wat Jake met hom gedoen het op hakker is miskien voordelig vir ons. Jy weet, ek dink en dis hoekom hy miskien ook die nod nou gekry het of die kies gekry het bo Andre Hugo en 'n paar van die ander hakkers, want omdat Malcolm 90% daar is dit lekker om 'n ou soos hom saam te vat, want jy het nou vir Grobbies en jy het vir Bongie en jy het vir hom wat nou hakker ook in vir jou cover, en dalk is erns speel ons om hakker op hierdie twee toetse teen Australië, en wanneer ons weer terug is in die All Blacks, dalk moet ons Malcolm in die eerste toets nog net 'n week wag. Jy weet, so hy gee vir jou daai opsie, en selfs as jy kyk na 2027 of as jy kyk na die make-up van jou squad, is hy 'n oues wat oor 2-3 jaar 'n hele paar toetse onder die belt kan hê, dan is dit glad nie ver gesog dat hy of weet nie of Bongie en Malcolm altyd het gaan maak tot die volgende World Cup nie, maar wie ook dan ook al die eerste keer sy hakker kan wees, kan selfs hy wees, maar hy kan 'n baie goeie tipe van 'n swinger wees, om saam te vat na World Cup toe. So ek dink dis goed vir sy loopbaan gewees dat jy kom hakker toe gespeel het.
Rassie, net die doelwitte vir die twee toetse teen Australië, en hoeveel leeway het jy om die jonger ouens kans te gee daar, of is it's obviously wen eerst, maar hoeveel leeway het jy om daai ouens kans te gee?
Nee, leeway het ek seker, kan ons seker, as ons wil in die eerste toets 'n span kies en die ander toets 'n ander span kies, en dan so leeway is daar nie van enige iemand. Dis maar om die ondersteuners positief te hou en te bly wen, en jy weet en die effort wat ons insit en die planne wat ons maak, en of ons momentum hou. Ek dink dat daar's niks wat ons stop om ouens 6-7 changes te maak of 2-3 changes te maak hier. Dit is maar uit en uit met hoe gaan die momentum. Jy weet, na die Ierland toets, as daai 'n pak slaaf was van Ierland ons gegee het, en dan sou ons heel waarskynlik nie hy Portugal toets 'n klomp jong ouens ingegee het. So ou try maar nie om met die emosies te gaan nie, maar 'n ou doen. Jy gaan met emosies en jy wil die ondersteuners tevrede stel en Suid-Afrika trots maak. So ja, ons plan is om regtig 'n paar ouens op hierdie toer kans te gee, maar mense wil nie beloftes rondom dit maak nie, want partykeer kan jy nie by die belofte bly nie. Ja, Joe is hy's 'n baie harde werker, en hy's presies, hy is almal ken hulle rolle, sy span sal fiks wees. Hy het nog nie 'n lang tyd gehad met hy moes ook 'n klomp nuwe jongs of ander spelers probeer, en obviously het ons hulle geanalyseer, en ek ken hom, hy sal ons van kop tot tone analiseer, en hy sal nog van die World Cup af toe hy saam met die All Blacks hoofselektor was, sal hy baie van ons weet, en van my spesifiek toe ek by Munster was. So nee, dit sal 'n goed geafgerigte Wallaby span wees met baie attention to detail, en ek dink hulle sal baie energiek wees, want hulle weet ons het altyd een van die twee toetse, en dan sukkel ons vreeslik teen hulle, en ja, ek dink die twee venues waar ons speel is nie vreemd wel vir ons as afrigters hier, Super Rugby is nou 'n rukkie terug verby, maar ja nee, dit sal 'n goed afrigte, gemotiveerde en energieke span wees, met baie kennis van jou speed. Championship, dit is maar soos die Ierse reeks, die druk was groot en ons wil bitter graag die Ire wen, 2-0. Ek dink hulle wou dieselfde doen, en hierdie Rugby Championship is vir ons net so belangrik, is lekker om weer 2 weke toer te hê, dan die All Blacks hier vir 2 weke, so dis bietjie anders, en ons sal môre op die vlug, en weet ons kan 'n volle toetsweek volgende week hê, ons gaan nie weer gevang word met ons eie dinge soos 'n vlug wat gekanselleer word. Ons luggage was al op die vlug gewees en toe moet ons afklim en toe, ek dink in Dubai oorslaap, was dit Dubai oorslaap die aand, so dit was bietjie 'n rowwe week gewees, die eerste week, toe ons die eerste keer daar 2 games gespeel het, so ons try daai goed nou vir my. Hi,
Coach, I'm going to go a bit towards the Olympics now, and it's 2 parts. The first part is World Rugby's new statement is that they want to implement a world calendar so that more players like DuPont can play at the Olympics. And then just the second part is on Tatiana, from one world champion to another. Just a few words on her. Yeah, and the Blitzboks, obviously.
What? Yeah, no, listen, I must be honest with you, we've got Dave Wessels as our new, I'm the Springbok coach now, so watching the boys almost not making even the Olympics to go there initially to qualify there, and then getting a medal I'll be very proud of, and yeah, I must be honest with you, I've been focusing a hell of a lot on Australia, but then in Tatiana we are proud of every single achievement, even whenever a South African, it can be anything. I mean, Rikus is fighting in Perth. We are trying to go to that fight that Sunday afternoon. Some of us are trying to get our flights later to get there. If we could have been in France now and supporting them, winning gold medals and bronze medals, it's just well done, congratulations, and we know how proud they are when we're doing well, and exactly if it's an individual or a team. So yeah, well done, and we're really proud.
Awesome. Thank you, Rassie. Thank you, guys.